During funeral, they heard a scream, so they left the coffin. Then 3 cats surrounded him. Stella was a loving mother who did everything in her power to protect her only child. But sadly, after an unfortunate incident, she was left with no other choice but to immediately bury her daughter's baby. During the funeral, 3 cats suddenly appeared, and everyone discovered something very shocking. "Mom, I cannot keep living my life this way." Diana, who had just turned 16, angrily told her mom Stella for the umpteenth time. Oftentimes, she pleaded with her mom to let her go to the community high school like the rest of her peers, but her mom never budged. The young girl did not understand why her mom kept her away from everybody else and inside the 4 walls of their home, as if she was some fabled, locked-away princess. She felt imprisoned and had no idea how the world worked. Days and days on end, she stared out of the window and wondered what the outside world looked like. Why homeschool her for over a decade and keep her away from computers and the internet? Was her mom even her real mom? Diana sometimes wondered. Thoughts of what she could do next to convince her mom kept her up at night all these years. Stella chose to keep her daughter within the safety of their home because she believed it was best for her. The world was a cruel place, and she feared that she might lose her daughter in its vast maze the same way she'd lost her husband. Stella's husband Michael had a zeal for life, and he was an adventurous man. He wanted to travel the world and revel in its beauty, so he would often go on fun but dangerous exploration trips. Despite Stella's warnings, Michael continued to explore the universe while taking dangerous risks. Unfortunately, one day, Stella's fears came true. Michael was on one of his trips when he accidentally fell off a cliff and died on the spot. Stella was pregnant with Diana when this tragic incident happened. Fearing that her daughter would take after her father's adventurous spirit and suffer a similar fate, she decided to keep her indoors. Everything was fine at first. Diana loved it indoors, but as she grew, she became more and more curious and wanted to break free. A week after her birthday, then, she confronted her mom once again, and it was clear she wouldn't take no for an answer. "I want to be part of that world, Mommy. Please let me," she whispered in a gut-wrenching cry. Deep down, Stella also knew that she couldn't keep her daughter indoors forever, and with Diana's behavior recently, Stella was scared that the teenager would hurt herself if she didn't give her the freedom she wanted. So Diana finally decided to loosen her grip on her daughter. She made plans for her to start attending high school in the city center. However, she made sure she kept a close watch on her daughter. On the first day of school, she got lots of attention because she was so beautiful and no one knew who she was in class. She was attentive, she asked brilliant questions, and gave intelligent answers. Everyone wanted to know her by the end of the first week. She was friends with different kinds of people. Sadly, since she had been indoors all her life, she didn't have much experience about life. She couldn't tell the difference between those who genuinely liked her and those who were just faking it. So when Mark, her classmate, approached her and confessed his feelings for her, she didn't doubt his intentions. She was just happy to go with the flow and eager to be in a relationship. Mark was a smooth talker. He was one of the hottest guys in school, so Diana easily fell for him. As Diana had promised Stella, she told her mother all about Mark, and Stella, being a smart woman, could tell something was off about Mark and advised her daughter to stay away from him. Rather than listening to her, Diana decided to stop telling Stella anything about Mark. Of course, Mark influenced her, as he would often tell her to keep their relationship a secret, so when he eventually invited Diana to a party, she didn't tell her mom about it. Instead, she snuck out of the house while Mark was just a few meters away, waiting for her in his dad's car. When she got into the car, Mark could tell that she was frightened and having doubts about the whole sneaking out thing. He held her hands and told her to trust him, and something about the way he said those words made her feel safe. At the party, Mark kept kissing her, and at some point he suggested that they go somewhere more private. When Diana missed her period the next month, she didn't notice, but her mom did. Stella sat her down and asked questions that Diana found weird because up until that moment, Stella had not seen the need to educate her daughter on sexual matters. She ran a pregnancy test for Diana and it came out positive. Stella was livid. She wanted to scream at Diana for allowing this to happen, but she couldn't. She blamed herself for even letting Diana out into the world without arming her with the knowledge to defend herself from men like Mark. To prevent her daughter from public shame, Diana withdrew her from school so that she could carry the pregnancy to term and give birth at home. She also took time to explain to Diana everything about pregnancy, childbirth, and motherhood. Overwhelmed by everything she was learning, Diana often took walks to the woods just behind the house. Their home bordered on the edge of town and people rarely wandered there. On one of her walks, Diana ran into 3 cats. At first she was afraid, thinking they would hurt her, but the sound they made tugged at her heart and she drew close to them. She took them home with her, pet them, and called them Luna, Lisa, and Laura. Then she expected her mom to be alarmed by the 3 cats' presence, but Stella was surprisingly welcoming, as sweet animals' wails claiming they were good luck charms. The next day, Stella searched the woods and found the body of a dead mother cat. Clearly, she could tell this was the mother of the 3 cats. Being an animal lover, Stella decided to take up the role of mother. Little did she know that someday these 3 cats would repay her kindness. In the following months, they became a family: Stella, Diana, and Luna, Lisa, Laura. Luna was even present when Diana eventually delivered a beautiful baby boy. 8 months later, when she started to venture out into the town again, Mark saw her on one occasion and started to pursue her once more. He promised that he had changed, and when he learned about the baby, he cried his eyes out, saying all he wanted was to be in Diana's life and be a good father to their son. Although it took a while, Diana started trusting Mark again. One day, he visited the house unannounced and apologized to Stella for all the pain he had caused her and her daughter. Although Stella didn't want him in her daughter's life, she also didn't want her daughter to be stigmatized for being a single mother. One day, Diana left Mark to watch over the baby while she was busy in the kitchen. Later on, he went to tell her that the baby was fast asleep and they could have some time for themselves. An hour later, Mark left, and then Diana went to check on the baby. She tried to rouse him from sleep, but he just wouldn't wake up. Diana was terrified. She called her mom right away and rushed the baby to the local hospital, where it was sadly confirmed that, shaking her head in disbelief and blaming herself, the baby died. Diana fell to the ground and fainted. It was a while before she was revived. Her baby was fine not long ago. How could they tell her that he was gone? What happened? She was grief-stricken, and so was Stella, who didn't know what else to do. Stella thought it would be good to bury the baby right away so that Diana could move on that same evening. A few friends came over to their house for the funeral, including Mark. They dug up the grave and the pallbearers started lowering the coffin into the grave. Just then, suddenly, Luna and the other cats ran in and jumped on the coffin. Everyone drew back in shock except Stella and Diana. Stella immediately suspected that something wasn't right. She had heard a few times how 3 cats had prevented their owners from being buried alive. Could Luna be doing the same thing? She wondered slowly. She walked over to the coffin and threw the lid open, and what she saw made her freeze. Although the baby's skin was pale, he was noticeably breathing. It was a miracle. Then she quickly called for medical help. Stella and another woman rushed the baby to the hospital amid the commotion. Mark tried to sneak out, but Luna, Laura, and Lisa pounced on him and started attacking him, as if he could tell that he had a hand in it. Seeing Luna attack Mark, then Diana suddenly remembered that Mark was the last person who'd been with the baby before it was pronounced dead. Although it took the intervention of police officers to get the truth out of Mark, he eventually confessed that he'd fed the baby an overdose of sleeping pills so that he could have some alone time with Diana. He expected the baby to wake up later on, so when he learned of the baby's death, he couldn't bring himself to confess what he had done. Mark was eventually sentenced to a year in prison for his careless actions, and when he eventually came out of jail, Diana obtained a restraining order against him. Although cats are independent animals who like to scavenge and explore on their own terms, they are also very affectionate with their owners and people they trust. Most cats love to curl up in your lap at the end of a long day while you watch television or read a book. They actually see us as parents. A 2019 study revealed that cats have the same attachment to their owners that babies show to their parents. Kittens in the study acted distressed when their caregivers left and happy and secure when they returned. They still acted this way 1 year later. Cats do love their humans, even if sometimes they have a funny way of showing it. In fact, they form strong attachments to their owners and display their emotions similarly to humans. Just like people, cats can show their love through understanding and concern for others. Many cats become protective of what they view as a people kitten, and there are accounts of cats raising the alarm when a baby shows signs of sudden illness. Most cats adapt to a new baby. They recognize that gentleness is required with this little human and react to him or her very differently than other humans. Schnauzy, a tiny black kitten, won an Animal Hero Award after she saved her family from a deadly glass leak. In October 2007, Trudy Guy woke up in the middle of the night to Schnauzy on her chest. The kitten was patting Guy's nose with her paw, trying to get her attention and save the family. Cats are incredible animals. What did you think of this story?